the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
So should we put on our headphones then?
We should put on our headphones.
Because it started, and we probably should hear what we're saying
Yes.
to the audience.
Mainly because the guys are back in the city. Guys are back in the city. You may be hearing that those words, those lyrics, and be like,
Thinking, where do I know that? Where have I heard that?
Where have I heard this song that it's impossible that I've ever heard it before? Unless we've sang it on the podcast.
Which we may have because we love it.
1832.
Yeah.
1823. I'm so sorry. Shaved off a solid 9 years off of our history.
Don't sell us short.
I apologize.
Jacob, we did not fight in the Revolutionary War,
You're right.
the War of 1812,
You're right.
the Spanish-American War, the Civil War, the World War I, World War II,
Korea.
yes, Vietnam, Panama,
Yes.
Iraq twice,
Yes.
Afghanistan,
Yes.
and now currently in Ukraine.
We did not fight in those wars.
For people to sell us short a few years
By 9 years.
on our thing. We
true.
We didn't
fight in those wars
wars.
for you to sell us short.
we didn't do it.
We didn't.
Not any of them, not a single one.
Oh, I love that so much. That needs to be a scene in something where a guy says that entire speech and then the kid's like, "You didn't." And he's like, "That's what I just
I
said."
told you we didn't fight in those.
So the guys are
I missed
back.
probably a couple wars there, but I think I was pretty well.
Look, I gotta
pretty well
say,
covered.
from a history standpoint, I think you covered the big ones.
The ones that matter,
big ones,
you know?
the ones that matter.
There's some folks in Texas who are probably upset.
Yeah, there are a few that you missed that important to them. Yeah. But the guys are back in the city is our variation on boys are back in town.
Yes. Well, the boys are back in town.
No, it's the boys are back in town. The boys are back in town.
Right.
Yeah. So, but no, there's another.
There's the 48 hours when they come back for another 48 hours.
So that's probably how we landed on this whole bit. So yes. I don't know the lyrics are to that one.
I think it's the same lyrics, man.
Is it?
I think so. Well, the boys are back in. I think it's the same lyrics.
We've got to find out, because here's the story: is we were going to make another Good Cops, and our web series. If you're new to the show, we made a web series quite some time ago, and I am a little obsessed with somehow finding a way to put "The Boys Are Back in Town," that song. The boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town.
Mainly because it has this solo section in the beginning, in the middle, that goes boot-a-da-bed up, boot-a-da-bed up, boot-a-da-bed up, boot-a-da-bed up.
And that was from Beverly Hills Cop 2?
I think so.
What's hilarious to me is there's two different Eddie Murphy movies where they have the same lyrics.
Totally. And so they were like, he was like, I like these songs. And I was like, just put them in two movies. Yeah. So I wanted to use the song so bad in Good Cops, and I was pitching it and I was singing it and whatever. And Noel and Clayton had to say, the song rights are always going to be a problem. And so Tim, our glorious sound man, who we've talked about, a musician, composer, who we worked with a million times, we were like, well, we'll just have Tim write of our own version. And it was, the guys are back in the city.
It was a classic.
It's so good.
Because you can't do the boys
You
are
can't
back
do the
in
Boys
town.
Back in Town. You can't either version. Either
No.
the Beverly Hills Cop version or 48 Hours or whichever Eddie Murphy movie you're talking about.
Pick an Eddie Murphy movie.
Pick an Eddie Murphy. There's a song about boys and there being a town and then being back in it.
Unless he's singing that it's a song about girls wanting to party all the time.
Right. He was limited vocally. Talented comedically, but limited vocally.
Yeah, he had some vocal limits.
Yeah, limits.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that was a good opener.
Oh, we did it. Now everybody knows. And in case you're wondering, part of the reason that we're the boys are back in the city, the guys are back in the city, is because we're doing week number 2 without Veronica.
Week number 2. I decided to not punish us this week and have the empty microphone standing over there. So as I set up today,
because I'm in enough pain as it is. We're on like day 8 or something.
This is a long time to not have her giggles.
I don't know how we're living. I don't know if you and I are even alive right now.
We aren't.
No.
This is posthumous.
Yeah,
this will.
We are releasing this podcast posthumously.
Yes, it's going to be huge now.
Oh yeah,
huge.
Because artists get famous when they die.
Artists get so famous when they die. So this is going to be a big deal. Now it's amazing that we're still functioning, and we do miss you so much. Please come home. Please
come. Please. I know. You met someone else.
Yeah.
You want to work with them. They're better than we are.
Yeah.
We get it. But we had some good times. We had some laughs.
Good times. It reminds me of those songs where it's always the guy pleading, like, please come home to me, baby.
Yeah.
Please.
You know how much I love you.
You know how much I love you.
You know how much you mean to me.
You know that we need you on this podcast to tell us what the tags are at the end, or we'll be completely lost without you.
That's right. And the guy just keeps saying over and over again all the reasons that he's begging, and he's it's I love you so much, and you know how much I need you, and all these things. Except he doesn't take into account the fact that she's leaving is probably because she doesn't need you anymore.
Exactly.
She doesn't want you anymore.
You're done.
She's moved on.
Yeah.
It's sad, really.
They're really sad songs.
Yeah, they are sad songs.
She's
like the guy should be saying stuff like, here are the list of 17 ways I can be better. Superior.
Yes, I can improve. Yeah. I'll fix myself. Yes. I know I'm problematic.
Baby, I'm going to learn calculus.
Yeah, the ladies would love.
Yeah. Honey, sweetheart.
Well, why did your marriage fail?
Well,
he didn't know.
Didn't know calculus.
His calculus was
terrible. It was okay at geometry.
Yeah,
but algebra 2 was fine, but pre-calc no good. Calculus was just a joke. This guy was a joke.
Just a joke. Are we talking about ourselves?
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. I'll work on my jump shot.
Yeah.
I'll be able to hit a smooth 3.
Those are the things the ladies like nowadays.
A silky smooth stroke.
Just put into your Tinder and Bumble profile, say, I'm good at calculus.
Good at calculus, and I got a sweet jump shot.
Sweet jump shot, and you are golden.
You're golden.
Golden.
Yeah.
Well, that was some good shenanigans to kick things off, and so we're gonna. I think we're gonna jump in.
Okay, you know what? This is our new thing. This is actually getting to the point of it sooner.
We tried to,
and then having more hijinks while we go.
Yeah. I actually, you want to know? I saw a funny person tweeted out a joke. It said, every. It made me think of us. It said, every podcast at 45 minutes in. All right, well, let's get into it. And I was like, that is so true. It's like you start the podcast, you're like, okay, today we're going to talk about corn on the cob or whatever. And you just talk and talk and talk and talk. It's like, well, we should probably get into the subject. And you've already been going for a solid half hour.
Yeah. We can't be like everyone else, Jacob.
No, we can.
We can?
We can.
All right. Well, so long as it's top quality content, we'll be okay then.
I think that maybe that's on the shows where, you're tuning in and it's whatever, it's comedy or it's about movies or music or whatever. We already have the uphill battle to climb as environmental podcasts that people immediately think to themselves, boring, snooze fest,
or I don't want to be preached to.
Exactly. Yeah. So when they kick off the show and they go, these guys are talking about Eddie Murphy, boys are back in town, these guys are being silly and shenanigans. I think they're enticed, and then they're hypnotized. They're like this, and then we're teaching them. And then they leave, and they're like, I don't know why, but I want to do Meatless Monday.
Yeah. Well, something's working. Because the numbers are going up.
The numbers are going up, and the world is changing.
We've
seen it.
Oh, we're going to be posting about that, aren't we? On the internet.
I posted a little bit yesterday. Yeah, I did.
The world is changing, folks. It's working.
We were first our favorite breakfast spot right here. They switched out all their plastic cups for the waters into these aluminum ones that they'll then wash there. Uh-huh. And then that same day we went to the grocery store, and all where you would see the styrofoam coolers igloos above the coolers were all biodegradable paper ones, coolers. And I was like, the world is totally changing.
The world is changing.
In the best possible way.
Yeah.
So it's good.
And you made the jokes that people are going to get that and be like, whoa. It's totally ruined. This is filled with ice and it's all wet.
And it's like...
We're like, yeah, but you threw away the styrofoam one too.
You were going to throw that away too. Like, do not pretend for 1 second that you're like, I go to the Quick Trip around the corner and buy the styrofoam cooler, and I keep it every summer.
Lies.
No, you buy it to use once.
You buy it so you don't have to have a permanent cooler.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
although, look, our audience would reuse it.
Yeah, I think so.
We're preaching to our audience would have reused the styrofoam.
Absolutely.
For sure. But we're talking about most people.
We're talking about most people.
Enough people that it's worth making it paper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
let's get to it.
Let's get to it. But I'm saying I think we're allowed to tangent because we've never really gone past maybe 10 minutes on average is what our tangents usually are. Which is what it is right now. I think what we kind
of discovered last week and the week before was that we do tangents in the middle anyway. So we keep that top quality content going.
Always.
So we can almost, we have to do an introduction. We can't just start.
I can't.
Without talking about Eddie Murphy. I mean, what kind of show does that?
What kind of show does that?
It's good. It's good.
But today...
That sounded tasty. For those people who are into the what is it, the BDSMR?
If BDSMR. Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep. No, that's good. That's the kind I listen to. It's the kind I listen to. A lot of snaps and pops and whips. Really up close.
Yeah, they would have loved that sound though. That sounded delicious.
It was delicious.
It really did.
It was a delicious
cup
sip
of coffee. Whatever he's got in that coffee is clearly delicious.
It is very good. Yeah. But today, my friend, this is a subject that I think that when I saw it, I was like, Noel's going to think this is cool.
Yeah?
He's going to think it's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Airships.
Oh, yes.
Just because I think you've got like aeronautic DNA in you.
I'm immediately transported to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
When he's up there with his dad and they're yelling at each other in that beautiful big open cabin at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For those of you who, when I say airship, it doesn't completely connect. But yeah, think about blimps. Think about Zeppelins. Think about the big flying blimps in the sky of days of old. Olden technology. This isn't new. This is old. We're hearkening back on this episode because they are kind of having a renaissance, a comeback.
Yes.
And there's people investing in them. And they're doing that because aviation is tricky.
Yeah.
It took us a long time to get up in the air. And then you're telling people, now you got to use batteries. They're like, that's going to be a problem.
What?
Big time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look, you got to think this is the way people thought it was going to go at the turn of the last century. They thought, oh, this is the future. This is how it's going to go. If you wonder why all of those old towering buildings in New York have spires, it's so that a blimp could fly right up to it. And attach.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was for the blimps.
For the blimps, because they thought this is the future. They thought this was going to happen, and it was the future until the Hindenburg disaster.
Yeah.
And obviously, one hydrogen balloon catches fire.
Everybody's like, not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about the history and kind of how we got there and how we got off of it. Which I mean, we summed it up for you right there. But why specifically people were like that?
And for those who don't know, this disaster, and most of you do, because we have a very educated audience.
We do.
But basically, there was a incident involving fire on an airship filled with hydrogen. Hydrogen is very reactive. It ignites quickly, and you put any pressure on it, it explodes.
Yep.
And so when you're thousands of feet up in the sky in a comfortable balloon, and suddenly the hydrogen starts igniting, it's terrifying. And then everybody died. So to give you a little history in
before
the
we
world,
dig into this,
not just the
whole
died.
world.
The explosion.
We hit the reset button. Hey, you're all new.
No, they're just in the airship, obviously.
The first recorded airship to have successfully flown was built by Frenchman Henri Giffard. Henri,
I think, yes.
Henri Giffard. Giffard combined a steam engine with a propeller and a huge sack of hydrogen and lifted off into the skies above Paris in 1852.
Huge Sack of Hydrogen was going to be the first album name for Led Zeppelin.
Yes, it was. They were like, we should, and then they were like, I feel like we're going too heavy on this whole Zeppelin thing.
Yes, they did.
But Huge Sack
so
of Hydrogen.
They went a different direction.
They just decided to call it Led Zeppelin 1.
Yeah.
A little over 50 years later, an evolved version of Gifford's craft became the center of the world's first commercial airline created by the Zeppelin Corporation. There you go. Zeppelins, as the airships were named, were used to ferry passengers around the globe until, this is the date, 1937, when the hydrogen-powered Hindenburg airship, which had previously made 36 successful transatlantic crossings.
Hey,
it is worth mentioning.
36 out of 37 ain't bad.
Ain't bad, right? The 37th.
Was it too soon to make a joke like that?
It's too soon.
Yeah,
there's some Hindenburgies listening.
A couple Hindenburgers.
Yeah.
Am I canceled?
I think we just got canceled. I mean, it's a good joke. It's a good joke. I don't care. I don't care. Come for me. Come for me. I'll laugh all day, every day at that. It's funny. Because you know what? Comedy is tragedy plus time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember.
It kind of is.
I don't remember who said it.
That's very clever.
But tragedy plus time equals comedy.
Because you have to laugh.
You have to laugh.
Because otherwise, what are you going to do?
Exactly. So it burst into flames while landing in New Jersey with public trust and airships torched. Use of words there.
That's brutal.
Fixed wing airplanes moved in to take commercial flight to fly. So
do you ever wonder if the fixed wing plane industry sabotaged?
It's possible.
Hindenburg?
It's possible. And they,
do you know how big? I'm sorry. Like big and beautiful those cabins were. I mean, if you want, Indiana Jones is literally that's it.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
And the new ones, I've seen pictures.
Yeah,
they are. The idea that you could be in a living room in the sky with couches where you hang out and lounge, and there's
they transport
food, and you're looking out windows, and you're not locked into a seat. You could have like a whole entertainment section.
Yeah. Now they take longer.
Yeah,
they take longer.
That's what they talked about.
Yeah, but you're comfortable.
Exactly.
Because you don't need as much energy to put it up in the sky.
Yeah.
You're just using something that's lighter than air.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that's so as we get into this. No. I think that's what I wanted to talk about, which is the appeal is there. They have some hiccups that are going to hold them back.
Sure.
And you know some of those, and we're going to dig into them. But what I loved about this, starting this article, is it says, for most holiday makers, the airplane mode setting on our phones is an apt metaphor for the current experience of air travel. When we check in, we switch off, and we come back to life once we're on the tarmac. That's like how you travel now.
Yeah.
You're like, right, well, I can't do much while I'm in the air.
I'm taking 5 hours off to go to New York.
Exactly. Yep. But this would change how we do things, just like you talked about, being in this kind of living room in the sky. So with eco-friendly jetliners decades away, that's because the batteries and the ways of powering a plane, it's heavy. It's very, very heavy to put a lot of batteries in a plane. And the hydrogen cell storage systems are also very bulky, also very large. So they don't know how to do those. And also they don't hold enough of a charge to be able to go a distance.
We've talked about it before. I'll bring it up again. The issues with electrified airplane travel is energy density.
Yeah.
So you could actually call kerosene or jet fuel or diesel or gasoline or any combustible fuel a battery. You could. It's a battery. It is stored energy that requires ignition, requires fire to be turned into energy.
Right.
And that's how you get the energy out of that battery, quote unquote. It's liquid energy is what that is. That's why they use it. It's very energy dense liquid fuel.
Right.
And so you can use significantly less weight, less mass of fuel, of jet fuel, than you could of batteries to get the same result. And one of the issues with flight is it's energy versus how much weight you're putting up in the sky. And there's a formula there, and at some point it becomes impractical.
Yeah. When they were doing the math, they were like, oh, this isn't gonna balance out. Right. This isn't gonna work.
And the funny thing about it is I think hybrid planes would work if they were up for it, because
they're working on it.
Once you're up there, now the batteries make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously, because like we talked about, the world is changing. The pressure is high on all these companies. There's a lot of pressure from the public and from the people, and this is a good thing. This is a good thing because it's forcing innovation. It's forcing change. We do need to put the pressure on. Yeah. I think we need to be patient with the transitions, but I think that the general populace is going, hey, we got to do something, because the commercial aviation industry is responsible for approximately 2.5% of global CO2 emissions. That's what it's responsible for. So that's more than double the amount of what's produced in the UK annually.
Well, that's almost as much as gardeners use with their blowers that are being
so true.
That are being
more than anything in Pasadena specifically. That's why we cannot allow gardeners to blow leaves, because it's more than 2.5% of global emissions. Don't get them started, folks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Carry on.
No, this is an increasingly eco-conscious world.
See, because Karen decided she didn't want to hear the blowers. Yeah. And so she went out and made a stink, and then made an argument that made no sense whatsoever.
And now you can't have leaf blowers.
And now these poor people can't have leaf blowers trying to do their job.
They're basically 747s flying around your neighborhood, Noel. Karen's just trying to fix the air.
Yeah.
So the pressure is culminated in major airlines like Air Canada, EasyJet, United Airlines. They're all investing a ton of money in what we see as the golden goose of future air travel, electric aircrafts. But this is going to be a long journey, and that's what's going on, which is like they can invest in it.
Look,
this could be 20, 30 years from now.
I want them to invest in it because in order for them to pull it off, they have to make the battery better. They have to find better materials. They have to make them better. And if they make batteries better, then that helps everybody.
Right.
The less batteries we need to get the same amount of energy stored, the better chance we have of making this crazy decision that we've done of how
to switch over to different energy sources. Yeah, because we don't have to mine as much and the recycling and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And take as much land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2020, the largest all-electric airplane, the 14-seater NAME propeller plane, undertook a successful test flight. So in 2020, 14 seats, so didn't hold a lot of people, but it worked. They made it happen. So it's being tested. So we talked about airships right there. So we've got some billionaires investing like Sergey Brin. Sergey?
Oh, yeah, Sergey Brin.
Yeah, Sergey Brin. And Flying Whales, which is out of the French government. The leading the charge is UK's hybrid air vehicles, HAV, and its flagship Airlander 10. So it says, while the aviation industry, this is a float from the guy who created HAV, while the aviation industry focuses on trying to decarbonize its smallest aircrafts, what we have is a product that will come into the market capable of carrying 100 people to their destinations with 75% less emissions than a conventional flight, explains Tom Grundy, CEO of HAV. So that's all well and good, right? We're like, oh, well, this is great. We got it. It just requires patience. It's going to take a lot longer to get there, and we should all do this immediately. No, still a big hurdle.
Still a hurdle.
And I'll tell you what it is. It is helium.
Yeah, it's not as good as hydrogen.
Yeah, it's not as good as hydrogen.
It's a lot heavier.
And we only have, I have it highlighted here. It's a finite resource.
Yeah.
So it says, while airships tend to burn much less kerosene than planes, almost all are filled with helium, which I like this idea that if there's a small leak of helium in the blimp, then everybody will be like,
what time do we get to Switzerland again?
Your voice sounds funny. Why does your voice sound so funny?
Somebody check the helium. I think this
Are we about to die? Oh my God, we're going to die very slowly.
So it just means that everybody's going to have these really high-pitched chipmunk voices. So almost all are filled with helium, a finite resource that is already coveted by the medical and tech industry to produce things like MRI scanners and fiber optic cables.
I don't think they should use helium.
Yeah, so carry on. This is good. No, I think you're right. So not only is it rare, but helium can only be found beneath the Earth's surface mixed with natural gas, meaning drilling is required to reach it. Currently, it is sourced as a profitable byproduct in natural gas production, a fossil fuel industry.
Because of slack off regulations and the fact that people don't want to do more work than they have to, the drilling is invariably going to cause more environmental damage than the saving we would get from the balloons.
So they came forward and they said, so so this was like one of these articles that I was like, this is how I read it. I was like this. I was like, So it says, they do say, although helium is invariably a core component in airship travel, currently, companies like HAV are quick to note that the helium in their crafts can be continually reused, with only around 15% needing to be replenished annually following initial inflation. So it was like, okay, so it doesn't deplete as much. They can reuse a lot of the same amount of it. That's cool. But I think you're right that it shouldn't be helium.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I know that we're all very terrified of what happened with hydrogen, but I think hydrogen is still the answer.
Yes.
I do.
I think so too.
I think hydrogen's still the answer because it's so much lighter. It goes up so much faster, and you can put a way bigger, way more comfortable cabin below it.
Yeah.
And I think that what you have to do is look at, okay, this is what happened, and this is how this accident happened with the Hindenburg, and then you defend against that. You put some more retardant to stop that from occurring in the first place, and then you have a backup. So like if something lights and you see, oh God, it's going, the cabin should be able to detach, fall, and have parachutes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, we have
ballistic parachutes. Then it floats down to the ground and nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, we have probably way more detection methods given AI. AI. We probably have the ability to see things coming a lot faster and more efficiently with the technology that exists now. So if you were to use this resource that it was once consider to be so volatile. We have so many ways of being able to be like, this isn't looking good.
Well, we're happy to put them in cars now. We're talking about these hydrogen vehicles.
Right,
we're talking. I mean, like, we're happy to use it everywhere.
Right.
So suddenly, hydrogen's this green, wonderful, fantastic thing that we can use in our lives everywhere we go. But it's dangerous in this one instance.
Yeah.
Like why can we make it safe in a car, but we can't make it safe in a blimp?
I know that's the tricky thing. It's stupid. Do you? By the way, I only know I know all of my television. I mean, I know all my news and information and history from watching TV. Like basically everything I know is just from like Police Academy films and Eddie Murphy movies.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say I don't even really know if there was we know this is why the Hindenburg exploded, but there was a TV show a couple years ago called Timeless, and they did this whole thing about the Hindenburg. And they were saying in the show that it was because of the grounding of the storms and the whatever, and that's why the fire caught, because it was electrical, but it wasn't grounded, and it had to do with like the connection to the earth or whatever. Yeah. And that was in the show.
Probably. I actually don't know.
No idea if they just were like making leaps, or if it's one of those things that because it was in 1937, they were like, we have a guess as to what it could have been, but
I'm sure they know.
You think so?
Somebody lost a lot of money, and they would want to know why.
Yeah. So it was an interesting episode because it was about like grounding to the earth, and I would imagine that when I see these things now, when I see these pictures of these airlanders, I just feel like even if you've got it loaded with hydrogen. There would just be so many other ways, whether it's the way it's dispersed through the craft, that if you were to start to have one issue, there would be so many fail safes in place. And like your idea about this, it detaches and we all land safely. Yeah.
I think there's 1,000 ways you could actually plan for it and make it safe. I do. I think I think it would be, frankly, you could make it as safe as current air travel. Yeah. Without being too crazy.
Yeah.
And it would be a much better, it's way more abundant. You can make it fairly easily. It's just a way better option.
Yeah. They actually, so on the helium thing, it says, however, dozens of companies have already begun the hunt for so-called green helium. These are gas deposits where helium is naturally mixed with nitrogen, meaning no carbon is released into the atmosphere when collecting it. So it says, this could provide a solution to the planet's helium needs in the long term, but so far no such deposits have been successfully tapped. So that's just like a theory. We think we can get it, but we haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah.
It's something.
Hey, you know what? They're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to invest their money. I think you're better off to start a PR campaign for hydrogen. Yeah. Where I think that would be a much smarter move than trying to go look for green helium.
Can we get the Biofriendly podcast sponsored by hydrogen?
Yeah, baby.
It's like how back in the 80s and 90s they had like Got Milk, and you're like, wow, milk has its own commercial. Wow. But like hydrogen, I feel like today's episode was brought to you by hydrogen. Way less boomy than they used to be. Or something like that.
Yeah. Like way less boomy in your balloony.
Way less boomy in your balloony. That's what we need to do. So the current helium reserves are set to last at least 50 years.
So that's plenty of time.
Right. That is the classic.
50 years, that's only about as long as this history we have left.
That's just about as much lifespan as Noel and I have left.
No problem.
We'll be okay.
And after that, we'll have figured something else out. No big deal. Who needed helium anyway for anything else that we did everywhere all over the planet?
In the medical industry.
In the medical friggin' industry.
Yeah. It does say, by the way, helium... its price increases like crazy. So from between 2011 and 2016, its price increased by 250%. And in 2020, it was up 67 times more expensive than hydrogen.
So every that wants an air balloon.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, sorry. Veronica.
No.
She's not
Veronica,
here.
Okay. Oh, the pain. They actually don't think that they don't think that the implementation of this is going to be as hard as it is to convince people to get places slower. They think that the hardest battle is taking today's world that's like, hey, I got a jet set. I got to get to Cleveland by 4, and I got to get there fast. That they're just like, the entire world's mindset
is so fast
that you're going to have to convince people to just change how you do things.
Yeah.
And that it is okay that if you're leaving for this trip to get somewhere, you're going to get there tomorrow. But you're going to lounge the whole time anyway.
And you'll have internet access.
You can watch TV if you want. It's just like taking a living room into the sky for a day.
Yeah.
But
with like the Earthlink satellites and all the rest of it, I mean, we're not too far from being able to have internet no matter where you are all the time. And that's all people do is sit around anyway.
Yeah, that's all
Think
they do.
about humans. We suck.
We're great.
We're the best, though.
We're awesome. And when we have minutes to sit still, I mean, it's nice, but
we're awesome.
But it's something that I think I'd like to try it because I'd like to try an airship. I'm kind of fond of trains. I'm a little crazy about trains. Yeah.
Same thing. You can get a nice cabin.
Yes. Yes. And I've always wanted to do one of those, cross-country trips via train where you really take your time and you look at the countryside and you have a little cabin and a room. I wish they weren't as expensive as they are. I've looked into it. They're pricey. And it's because nobody does it. So how else are they going to keep this thing going unless they charge a premium, right? But trains are something that have always drawn me in, this idea of really taking your time as you get somewhere. Because a plane ride, it's fast, it's efficient, but you're sitting in a tube. You got a tiny little window to look out. You're trying to watch a movie or something like that. It's not like there's much to do on that. And I just think that we could get there if we convince people to go, hey, just change the way you get places.
Yeah, they have a point though. It's more likely that the whole supersonic getting up into space and then going at 30,000 miles an hour up there and then coming down and getting to the place in 45 minutes.
People like to go fast.
That's probably more likely to succeed than yeah. But I long for this. It would be nice. It would be a relaxing, fun way to go, like going on a train. But probably equally, like the amount of popularity is going to be similar.
Yeah, so it's going to be expensive.
It's going to be expensive, and only people who are like retired and don't have anything to do and want to just relax are going to do it.
Right. Like if you're taking your Christmas vacation, you're like, I only get
Christmas.
I only get the 5 days off during Christmas, so I can't take a day and a half to get there and a day and a half to get back because then I lose my entire vacation. So that's also a challenge. Yeah. But they have, one of the benefits of them also is they can carry a lot of weight, a lot more. It says, this is at least one company, Flying Whales. Yeah. It says, carrying at least 2 crew members, the airships will be able to transport 60 tons of cargo, around the same as 2 or 3 freight trucks. Schleck says the Flying Whales are designed to carry heavy, bulky items such as blades for wind turbines, logs collected from steep mountainsides, or construction materials being delivered to remote, isolated locations. Airships could also deliver food or aid to natural disasters when railways or roads might be inaccessible. Because up until this point, helicopters, which are the go-to transport for remote cargo deliveries,
very little
stuff that you can take.
Yeah,
you'd have to take a lot of trips to get stuff out there.
Yeah,
right?
they suck for that.
Yeah. So it says Flying Whales claims its airships will produce less than 10% of the carbon emissions.
Now we're talking.
Okay, you're talking about because being able to move a lot.
If you're talking about freight, like if people don't need it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, but you're just talking about a company that wants to move a bunch of something, yar and thar.
Yeah.
You can take a lot of trucks off the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's and then you're not. Then use hydrogen. Mm-hmm. Right. Just have the detachment system work for the pilots.
The pilots.
Let the cargo burn in the unlikely event that it goes.
Yeah.
Like that. This is a business.
Yeah, it is.
This is a practical business because you can also land an airplane, like one of these floating blimps, almost anywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
That's with an airplane, you need an airstrip.
Yeah.
That's way more practical. You can freaking drop it in UPS's backyard.
Yeah. And I think that this is where, again, we are so used to, I find the thing I want on Amazon. Yeah. And I need it here tomorrow. I need it here this afternoon. And if we can start not thinking like that anymore. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. I just took advantage of it recently, as in it was Mother's Day. I needed to get something to my mom. I was looking at boutique websites and I was looking for something. And oftentimes when you're looking at these small places, it's like 14 days.
14 days
to get to your mom.
Yeah.
And so you go, well, I can't wait that long. Right. And that's on me because I waited until 3 days before Mother's Day. Yeah. So then I end up clicking the box that makes it go fast. And so if we're transporting goods, if we're transporting things, needs to other places in the world, and it's freight in the sky, and it's, this isn't all shopping, obviously, but it's like for a lot of the things that are on the road, and people just can relax and be like, it's okay, it's coming when it's coming.
But even if people don't relax, still works.
Still works?
Because what happens is you have a lot of, like, the company that's making the whatever it is that you got for your mom, or that's creating the goalposts or the basketballs or the
Whatever it is.
or the donuts or whatever that they're making.
Donuts.
Yeah, that's right. That company is they're going to make it in their factory, right? And then they're going to ship it out and deal with shipping it. So maybe the final product that's going to the consumer, maybe that's got to be organized differently and has to have its, more high-speed yar and thar. But all, like they talked about wood, right? All of those logs of wood, like instead of throwing them on the back of a truck, but putting them on an airship and getting it off the road and taking more of it in the sky exactly where you want it to go, like you could remove a ton of carbon emissions this way. I mean, a massive amount of carbon emissions. And you could make the roads more open because you'd have less trucks on them. Because a lot of that is long hauling. This particular company needs 6,000 pounds of aluminum, so you got to truck it. Yeah. Well, no,
you can airlift it.
Let's airlift it, because they can plan ahead.
Yeah.
They have their regular. They know they make this much in a month, so they're going to order this much by air balloon and keep bringing it in, and it comes reliably. Yeah. This is a good idea.
This is a good idea. This is a big win for me.
This is a big win. This is a good idea.
It is.
This would help the environment significantly.
Significantly.
Not quite as much as banning the leaf blowers.
Agreed.
Which obviously is the number one problem that we're dealing with in the environment.
In a lot of ways, we will not rest.
We will not rest
until every leaf blower is taken off the streets.
You know what? And let's kill everyone who ever used one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because they're monsters. And they are basically poisoning everyone in this town.
Exactly.
You know, I know.
I get it.
That's why you went to City Hall and you stood there with Karen.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
I should have sat there with Karen and had this argument and been like, you just don't like the noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
You crusty, underdeveloped nut truck. I said that because I was trying to do "See You Next Tuesday," but like with different.
Yeah. I see it. I see what you did there. But it's. Yeah, and I want to say apologies to the Karens of the world that aren't actually Karens. I know it's just.
I actually know some Karens, and they're all quite lovely.
I know all the Karens I grew up. The Karens I grew up with are very nice, wonderful women, and do not behave in a bad way whatsoever. And it's unfortunate. It's just like Chad's.
Yeah.
Chad's also got the what do you call that? Like the crap end of the stick.
They did get that. Yeah.
It's like
there's no more dicks in the world.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can't find a dick anywhere.
There's just those names that they just end up becoming a slang.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, sorry, Chad.
Yeah. And all the Johns changed their name to Jack.
They did. They did. But John's making a comeback.
Yeah.
It's a comeback. Yeah, so there's a John Renaissance.
There's a John-assance.
Yeah, John-assance.
Yes.
Yeah. But then, so there's not much there. I kind of feel like I was so efficient with my data this time. Like I had everything highlighted that I got to a lot of what was happening very quickly.
I think it was a very productive conversation. Very productive. And I think there was even some fun in there.
There was.
Again.
It was one of those shows that I was like, this is out there. There are these airships. There's the problem with the helium. There's a problem with the hydrogen. They want to get it off the ground, but this is again, the innovation that we see all the time, which is we want to electrify planes. How do we do it? Well, somebody came in and said,
don't.
And they said, it's going to take some time, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. What do we do in the meantime? Mm-hmm. And that is a big part of transition and technology. Is
this solution for freight is going to be better than electric airplanes.
Yeah, probably.
For the environment.
I think you're right.
They should do it.
They should do it.
It should be done.
We should be sponsored by hydrogen. Hydrogen, sponsor us.
We should have hydrogen freight lifts all over that. They should be all over the sky. They should have their own elevation area that they get to be in, and they should take all of the as many loads as we can possibly fill them with.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I think that the one thing that they're missing is so many of them are afraid of hydrogen. I think that they're all focusing on
because
helium.
They're thinking about people.
Yeah, they're thinking about people.
Right? Like it would be very unfortunate to have it blow up and to lose the logs that you put in there if it was freight.
Yeah.
So long as you have an escape system for the crew,
yeah,
it's cool.
It is.
You're cool. And by the way, defend against it and it won't happen. We're talking about one airship. Yeah. Nobody stops the airplane industry because a plane crashes.
It's true. Or cars.
The plane disasters that have happened over the years, more people have died in planes than in airships.
Yeah.
By a lot.
By a lot. Yeah, absolutely. And we only say this because Veronica already left on her plane because we didn't want to tell her that information before she went on her first plane.
Well, okay, it's still
very low.
For those people who are concerned about air flight, it is the safest way to travel. It is statistically the safest way to travel.
It is the safest
by
way
far. By far, your plane's not going to crash. You're fine. You're fine. Just like the next airship's not going to crash either.
Right.
It'll be fine. And you fill it with freight. Just make it a freight solution. This is so good.
Yeah. It's just like trucks, cars, anything. It's in an accident. Something goes wrong. But we continue to go about our day. Things go wrong. They go wrong. It happens. But I truly believe in the ability to detect and understand when something doesn't look right in a system. And checking and going, okay, Mayday, we need to shut this down or we need to disattach from it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, we lost 20% of whatever the cargo was because of an accident.
Look, it would suck,
It'll happen,
but it happens.
It's not people.
Trucks crash on the side of the road and the crap goes everywhere. Like that stuff happens. It's not going to happen often at all.
Yeah.
It's enough that if I was a billionaire, I'd probably do it. It's that good of an idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's that good of an idea.
You have $1 billion. You were just telling me the other day. You were like, I
know, but I'm making that giant duck pond.
Okay. Well, that's a far better
And
investment.
I want them to have their own like pirate ship underwater that they can swim down to.
Of course.
And they can relax. Plus, there's a
Davy Jones Quacker.
jacuzzi in there. That's right, Davy Jones.
Course.
I'm glad that you remembered the name of it.
I remember
that's
everything
exactly
you
what it's
talked
called.
about.
That's so good. And then like maybe like a card, like a little bar that they can swim up to and play cards and
I love it.
Some
It's gonna be.
I want to put. That's gonna be expensive.
It's gonna be a great use of your money.
Thank you.
And people have said for years, Noel, invest.
I invest.
Noel, put your money, make it work for you.
Yeah,
and you said,
work for me.
The working for me is this duck pond where the ducks are pirates.
Yeah, duck pirates farm. Yeah, and gambling. Yeah.
The ducks are gambling.
The ducks
or we're
are
gambling.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we can also gamble on the ducks if we want. We can have duck races in there, and it's gonna be great.
This is perfect.
But I just want that more than a clean environment.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. In a lot of ways, it will give us a clean environment because I feel like the pirate ducks are gonna, overtake and
they'll pillage.
and they'll run the world, and then everything will be fine.
They just need some inspiration.
Yeah,
that's what this is about.
They just needed somebody to guide them. Yeah. Well, that's
and a slide. They have a slide also for them to go down and spin around.
Multiple slides.
I'm going to spend $1 billion on this.
I know all of it. Yeah. All of it. You're going to spend every last penny.
Every last penny I have.
And then at your eulogy, your children will go, he had $1 billion.
And we have a duck pond that we need to find something to do with.
And all these ducks, they killed each other. It's an empty duck pond. They got so into being pirates.
It's the worst idea.
They destroyed each other. Yeah. So airships, I thought it was a cool subject.
Yeah, that's a great subject.
Yeah, it's a great subject.
It did not occur to me what came up today until the show. The realization hit me on the show live.
I love it. Because you were like, we were thinking about passengers, we were thinking about Indiana Jones, we're thinking about living rooms in the sky.
Yeah, but no,
and then you're like,
hydrogen freight.
Yeah.
Hydrogen freight. It's the best. Think about your commute.
Yeah.
And how many times you've got trucks that are passing each other on the road and
Too often.
clogging everything up, and you can't get around them. You're like, what do we do with all these trucks? The traffic would be reduced
so much,
massively.
Yeah.
Massively.
And giant stones that get kicked up and shatter your windshield.
Which happens to me in particular all the time.
All the time.
And that's frustrating.
It is very.
So you get rid of all those problems, and you get rid of the carbon emissions that the trucks create.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's a win-win.
Gone.
Yeah.
You carry more stuff. Particularly, hydrogen's more efficient than helium. It's better.
It is. Hydrogen.
I'm just saying. I don't know why we're screwing around. I'm still making a duck pond, and then if I make another billion.
Okay, how about this? I've got an idea. How about $995 million on the duck pond?
Okay.
And then $5 million.
Seed money.
Seed
Seed money to go get some investment to do this.
Deal?
Yeah, well,
we'll think about it.
Let's see.
Sleep on it.
Let's see how it goes because we need a pretty sick duck pond.
Agreed.
And I don't want to sell that. I don't want to sell that short, and that's important. Obviously, we all agree on that. Everyone in the audience agrees that that's important.
We do.
And then we'll discuss
then
it.
we'll do that.
We'll discuss it.
Okay, deal. Deal.
Yeah. After it's made.
Deal.
In the meantime, because the duck pond's happening, if somebody else who's a billionaire wants to jump in and start, the idea is free. Take it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Thank you for checking out the always informative, very helpful, well-educated, scientifically supported, biofriendly podcast. We are so thankful you've been listening to this show for 200 years, and we look forward to 200 more. And if you haven't checked out biofriendlyplanet.com, you need to go immediately and look at that sweet-looking, slick site. It looks awesome.
Yeah, biofriendlyplanet.
Biofriendlyplanet.com. That's what I said.
Oh, you say biofriendly? You say biofriendly.com? I don't
biofriendly.
listen very well.
No,
I'm not a good listener.
Why would you? I say it every time. Why would you?
Why would you?
I would never expect you to listen. Biofriendlyplanet.com. It looks amazing, and we're having site enhancements coming all the time, and it just looks great. So I'm very proud of it, and I want you to check it out. And we have a lot of other exciting things coming, but we need you guys to continue to share the podcast and support and subscribe and tell everybody it's the greatest thing you've ever heard and that there's a duck pond coming and Noel is building it and you're Team Duck.
Don't forget that part, audience. You are Team Duck.
Hashtag Team Duck.
Team Duck.
So with that being said, we will say we are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Making top quality content since 1823.
Science without shaming.
Green without the groaning.
Inspiring fear and love.
This show is about patience.
Careful. You'll catch feelings.
And then there's the one that I'm supposed to remember.
This
that
is-
I don't remember every week.
And
And I
what-
can't. Without Veronica, I'm worthless.
What did I say before the show
This is
began?
killing
today?
me. How do we get her back?
I said we're gonna get her back. We're
Baby.
gonna win her back, baby.
Baby.
Please come home.
Please come home. You don't
Please
know what
come.
you mean to me.
I said to him before the show, I said, do you want me to go 2 episodes back
Girl.
and listen to the tags and I'll figure out what it is? And he goes, No. We're just gonna lean into this even harder in the
Yeah.
fact that we cannot do
The
this.
audience needs to know how
They
important
need to
Veronica.
know that we
Veronica
literally-
needs to,
Girl.
don't you know? I wish I had a boy band with like all the people in the background. Snap. Ooh, girl. Can't you see what you're doing to me when you leave like this?
Baby, please come home.
Baby, I want you so bad. You mean the world to me.
Just come back and tell me the tags on my podcast, girl.
I can't, I don't know the tags without you. I can't stand going through a day without hearing the giggle.
I need the giggle. So
The smile keeps me moving.
we're gonna end the show on these outros
Yeah.
because there's no Veronica to cut to. So
There's
we're just
no
gonna-
Veronica to cut to. Without your outro. Is nothing. I mean nothing, girl. I'm a worthless piece of junk. I'm a gigantic pile of useless garbage that makes no difference to the earth without you. So take me back. Like that's what such a like, right? It's like they go on and on about. Yeah, right. About how like it's just you are everything to me, and I am nothing without you.
it.
And it's like, well, then why does she need you?
Yeah, you're nothing.
She doesn't need you.
They're calling to tell us we got to get off.
They're like, would you stop trying
you
to be
end the
boys to
show?
men? You're not boys to men.
You're done. That's it. Bye.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.